media beautiful people, welcome back to another episode of Didn't Really Name It. And yes, this is the beginning of season 2, and I cannot be more thankful to you guys for waiting on me because I'm just happy to be back with the videos and the video podcast. And it's an amazing way to begin the season with the Johnathan Morrison. He's one of the most influential creators on the platform with his crispy videos and his super popular Dream Desk series. His crispy videos have been watched over 426 million times, and his impact on the community has given rise to many other amazing content creators. Welcome aboard, Jonathan. Thank you for joining us in today's podcast for Didn't Really Name It. This is a really big opportunity. I'm really excited to have a podcast with you today.
Dude, thanks for hanging out. We talked a little bit before this, and it's like over or past 1 a.m. in the morning, and you got school and an exam tomorrow, and you're hanging with me. Thank you.
Yeah, man, it's all about, meeting you. That's the thing that is keeping me up. And yeah, I'm excited to get the interview today. So let's begin with the first question then. Tell
Let's
me
go.
about your YouTube journey on how and why you began your YouTube channel back in 2010.
Honestly, I think it was just a love for tech. It stemmed way back even before YouTube. I think I get it from my dad. You know what a Blu-ray is, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So prior to Blu-ray, there was these things called DVDs, and he was always up on the latest things. Whether it was like I remember when he got a 720 TV, and he went into what was Hollywood Video at the time and asked for a Blu-ray, and they didn't know what it was at the time. So I think it was a natural love for tech, and once I'd always liked video, and I think once that kind of blended the two of, oh, I like tech, I like video, you start to see like, well, maybe I can do this. And I don't think back then any thought that it would be to where it is today was the thing, but it was just honestly the love of tech and video.
Yeah, it was very simple back then, yeah.
Si- Harder and simpler at the same time, just because the barrier to entry now and the tools that we have is awesome. It was definitely harder to create back then, but also just simpler times, I guess, in the YouTube space.
Yeah, that is perfectly summed up. So let's get into the next one then.
Sure.
I've been watching your videos since I was 14. We talk about this, okay? And I'm 21 now. So
Cool.
you've been on the platform for, I guess, 10 years. And
Yes.
you've seen YouTube evolve, change, whatever you want to say with that. So how has the change affected you as a creator?
I don't know if it's really affected me, in a negative way. I've always tried to roll with the changes, and I think it's very easy to fight if there's a system or update or change or to like do things a certain way. I've always wanted to evolve and kind of try and do things differently. And, like we kind of talked a bit offline about your journey, it's not about the view, because like we can be honest, right? Like it's nice to have a video do well. Don't get me wrong. But for me, I think, especially lately, it's more about the message of what the video entails. So I've just wanted to push myself creatively and do things that make me happy because it's easy to fall into the game or the system of like wanting to chase the clicks. And there's just certain situations where like, yeah, I know I could make that video, but am I going to like it or enjoy it? I just I want to be able to make things that make me happy. I think that's the mindset I've tried to take throughout this whole time.
The thing is, the core problem now, let's talk about that
Right.
core problem is views. The
Right.
numbers, the YouTube dashboard, I guess in general, it's all about, it makes you as a creator really scared. And sometimes I've seen many creators, just they push out videos for the sake of fighting with the algorithm. So
Hmm.
that's the reason why I wanted to know like what goes in, because you've been on the platform for like 10 years now, right? So
Right.
I mean, and I wanted to know about your experience on how that happened. So yeah, that was perfectly good.
Cool.
Yeah, this question, I actually made a poll on my Instagram account. So obviously I had to. So
Cool.
how did Team Crispy began?
Honestly, I think that's just friendship, man. Like that's the simplest answer. I don't think it's a label. I don't think it's a squad. I don't think it's anything more than just friends, right? Like we friends that grew up. I think a lot of people tend to, I don't think anybody would even say it's like a squad or a club or a name, right? Like it was just the crispy thing started back, Marquez would go back and forth and I would be like, oh, that shot's crispy. And then it evolved into saying it online. And then honestly, I think more than anything, like we were dubbed that name. And the reality was it was just good friends that grew up in this world together. That's the simplest answer.
When I was a kid, like, and I was 14, it was the best gang on the internet uploading the most video. So that was that.
Appreciate you.
Next question. What do you think for the future of foldables?
I think there's a merit, right? I'm a fan of technology that gets out of the way for me. I am less of someone that likes to tinker with things or like I get excited at the idea of new tech. I think there's a lot of merit. Like I loved the idea of being able to keep something compact in your pocket. And then, obviously times have changed now. We're not really going to gyms, but the idea of having this small little thing in your pocket that you can then unfold and have this big, beautiful screen to watch something, whether you're on the treadmill, is amazing. And I hope they continue to push it. And, I feel like in 3 years from now, we're going to look back and, potentially laugh at what we have now and hopefully they nail it. But I'm excited for tech and anything that's pushing the envelope.
Yeah, that part where you said like we're gonna laugh at it. I think that's getting really right. With for instance, I think Oppo released a new phone titled X 2021. Have you seen that phone?
I've seen a little bit of it. Yeah, I've been so deep into everything. I haven't really checked up a lot lately, but
I mean, I'll send you a video right after this. But the phone literally expands, like literally expands. I don't know how that's possible, but Oppo is doing it. So, I mean, because I wanted to ask this very question about foldables was many people still don't like the idea of having the Galaxy 4 like that. How was your experience with the bulkiness of the phone?
it's not bad. It's extra steps for me. I think the biggest maybe con for me wasn't the, I guess, fact that it was foldable. It was just the barrier to entry, right? It was very much a new product and it was expensive. And, for a lot of people, the counter argument or thought is like, hey, well, you can buy a really good phone and a really good tablet for that price and kind of get the best of both worlds. So for me, it just comes down to, I've been very open and out front. I've tried to make it clear and just not be afraid to say what I enjoy and what I use. And, for me, the iPhone works. I don't really care about like tinkering or those kinds of things. Like for me, what's the most important is I have a good camera. I can iMessage, I can AirDrop, and like that's why it works for me.
Yeah, I guess the ecosystem really got onto you.
Yeah, and it's like I get it, right? There are cons to it, and you kind of get trapped in there. And I can see both sides, and there are it's rare that we have a bad piece of tech. There are bad pieces of tech, but it's rare, right? If we go back and compare things now to 10 years ago, everything's awesome.
We can take an example of, back then when Motorola released their first Moto G, for instance.
Right.
And it was called the pinnacle of budget smartphones. And
Right.
now you see budget smartphones. They offer such a, I mean, I wasn't like, I didn't think that I would be saying this, but iPhone SE 2020, for instance. Who would have thought that Apple will be nailing down such a phone under 400, 399? I mean,
Right.
yeah, I guess so. Your thing about that, like, compared to 10 years ago, where I think it was the Palm phone back then, Palms and the
Right.
Blackberries. So
Yeah.
compared to that,
The droids. I remember all the iPhone killers back then. It was my first official smartphone was a Motorola Q, and I remember I was just ecstatic to be able to check the internet. Like the fact that I could go and check a sports score online was amazing. And if we use that today, it'd be hot garbage. But at the time, it was groundbreaking.
searching through Google now, okay, yeah, we got the scores now. But back then, I guess it was a very big deal. So yeah.
Yeah, no, for sure.
This is very funny, and I think you probably almost forgot about this one.
Okay.
Do you remember the Fanboy rap?
Oh no, I do. I love that. I love that.
So, how was your experience with the Fanboy rap? And would there be any other Fanboy raps in 2020? We really need that.
I would love to see Lou get on the mic again. He got some bars.
Yeah.
But no, that was for me. It was just fun, right? It was again back to the whole idea of just friends having fun. And I know sometimes it may seem like there needs to be a complex answer or some crazy backstory, but it was literally just friends. Like, hey, I got this idea. Okay, yo, you want to come here? You want to come here? Let's get together. Let's bring some cameras, and it just kind of happened spontaneously. But it was a lot of fun. Those are some of the coolest moments I'll look back on.
And yeah, that's the thing. Team Crispy has such a big influence on the community. We're gonna talk about that in the podcast later on, but it's really big. So, what led you to make my favorite song in 2020? I guess the Magsafe song.
Oh, really? It's your favorite song?
Yeah, man, I really love the vocals and the beat. Oh my god,
Well,
insane.
I honestly I think it's all that goes to Julia. She got an amazing voice. Without her, it's nothing, right? Um, yeah, it was just obviously I have a love for music. I think as much as I love video, music was always my first love, and definitely had to put it on the back burner, I guess you would say, just because YouTube kind of takes off and you focus on videos. So life happens, life goes on, and you don't really do like the hobbies per se, right? Because I music is a hobby, and I've always had that love. And as much as I'll say this a billion times, as much as I love video, music makes my brain just work and feel different. So I've been wanting to incorporate more and more music just because I love it. And throughout the last, I would say year and a half, getting a chance to work out or getting a chance to work with Julia and Jackson and Andrew and these people who helped me get better. That's been an amazing experience. So we've kind of built that foundation, and I think this one, because we did some cool stuff last year, the Mac Pro video with Julia and Jackson and Andrew is probably my personal favorite piece of creative, like a creative piece. That was the favorite thing I've done, I think. And then the pandemic hit, and that kind of slowed things down. And the iPhone came out, got that MagSafe charger, and it was as simple as I saw the animation, and I was like, "Yo, I wonder if this makes a sound." Unmuted the iPhone. I was like, "Oh my god, it does." There's the charge sound, but there's something new. And I was like, "Well, what if I airdrop that and put it into Logic? Well, what if I make a little beat around that?" I was like, "Okay, this is not awful." And then sent that to Jackson and Julia. She whipped out magic, and then I think from conception to execution, everything was like 48 hours, and it just happened organically.
You created fire within 48 hours?
If you want to call it fire, yeah. Jackson with the sauce and Julia with the amazing vocals. I'm just thankful and grateful to get to work on something like that. But yeah, it was concept to execution in like 48 hours.
Yeah, I mean, I really love the song. And I also saw a sneak peek. You working on a Windows XP song.
I'm just trying to have fun, man. There's like Windows XP, maybe some PlayStation stuff. I think I'm just trying to have fun. Music is definitely my like mental therapy of life.
It really helps you go in the flow. Music is something that you
Right.
know, there's songs that you can put when you want to feel turned up, like Jack Harlow, and then
Yeah.
you want to put on some vibe in the car, so you put on Magsafe.
I,
So
I, look, I appreciate that more than you know. It's been fun. It's really cool to see people like it because it was honestly for me it was a dumb idea that I sent to them that they turned into an awesome piece, and just to hear that you like it, to hear people like it has been super humbling.
yeah, I mean, it's obviously, not obviously, sorry, it's always uh, we think that it's a shitty idea in mind, but sometimes it happens with me too. It's one of my shittiest projects just end up working. So
Right.
yeah,
Yeah.
I guess that's what happened with that. And I think you should have more shitty ideas like that. We can get.
All the shitty ideas.
So the next question, I guess you're so tired of listening to this one, is let's talk about the Apple M1.
Sure. No,
So,
I'm not tired at all. I'm ecstatic. Let's go.
alrighty, what do you think will be the impact of the Apple M1 chip on the laptop market as a whole?
As a whole, I hope it just creates competition, right? It hopes. I mean, the reality is, right, is AMD is already doing awesome stuff, right? They're pushing the boundaries, they're pushing the envelope, they're doing some really great things in terms of chips, not only desktop but mobile as well. And I think hopefully this kind of springs forward the notion that, like a cool, quiet, but powerful laptop with awesome battery life matters. And if everyone can kind of run with that notion, I think that's the win.
Yeah, I mean, I love the battery, but I still am confused why they decided to, just take off the fan on the MacBook Air.
Well, I think for a lot of people, like that actually matters. And for me, knowing what it's like to, especially like if you just, because the MacBook Air, don't sleep on it. It can do a lot of things. It's really where you get into the sustained performance where the MacBook Pro and the active cooling matters, but you can do a lot on the MacBook Air. And sometimes, just the notion of chilling on your couch, something light that lasts a long time, that doesn't make a sound, is awesome. And especially for people who are just like, you want to do a podcast. If you try to, normally, if you hook up a USB mic to a MacBook, those fans are kicking up. And the notion that you could plug in a mic like this, USB-C, into a laptop, have it last a long time, and not make a sound, I think is more valuable than some people think. So whether you're podcasting or you're a musician that's just starting, the fact that you can have quietness, because MacBooks in general, normally for audio, once you get a session in Logic going, or whether it's Audacity or whether it's Pro Tools, those fans kick up. And if you're trying to record anything, there is nothing more frustrating than MacBook fans.
Okay, I think it boils down to the experience you had with the Mac. I actually saw many videos stating exactly that thing, and fans kicking in is really annoying. And I guess one of the most important aspects here is, at the end, it's the average customer.
Right.
Apple knows down to the core what they exactly want.
Right. And that's the thing too, right? It's like they're trying to put both hats on, right? Like they know deep down, okay, this thing is going to perform. Like we know that. But how do we talk to the average person? Because look, in terms of CPU cores and names and SKUs and labels, like 1 gigahertz is confusing, because how many times did we see it where, Apple released a low voltage chip and it was clocked at 1.3 gigahertz and everyone was like, oh, that's weak, 1.3 gigahertz. And then they're going to ignore the fact that maybe it turbos above 3, above 4. Or does it have hyperthreading? Does it not? What's the difference between i5, i7? Like there's so many things that just to the normal person is just like, what is going on? So I think as frustrating as it is and can be for someone who's really into it, the simplicity of like, okay, are you picking 4 cores? Are you picking 8 cores? Are you picking 12? And not worrying about how many gigahertz is it? Like, does it perform? And how much performance am I getting? Like, that's what matters.
I'm not in the ecosystem at all. I don't have an iPhone.
Right.
I don't have an AirPods or anything. But when I listen to the average customers and average consumers of Apple products, they just want it to work with everything they have right now. And
right.
Yeah, it all boils down to the experience. So yeah, man, thanks for sharing about that for the M1. So let's get into the question that I have been taking to ask for the past, I don't know how long. This is the series that impacted me as a creative professional, video editor, and as a person in general, setting up goals. So what was the core creative idea behind the Dream Desk series?
I think just liking the idea of, like we talked about, right? Being in the creative mindset is so important. And I know it's silly sometimes. People are like, well, it doesn't really matter what it looks like or what it is. But for me, I would relate it to a musical instrument. If it sounds good, if it's cool, if it feels good, if it puts you in that mindset to want to be creative, like that's important. So I guess it was the notion of, one, being in a cool creative space, an element to inspire. And then ultimately, I like the idea of being able to use a platform to help people. And like, we're very blessed to do what we do. And if you can kind of blend those two worlds of making cool stuff, helping people, I think that's the kind of the ultimate end mesh of those two things.
That explains it all. yeah, it seems like the thing that I would want to do in the future. It's like, uh, my only intent is to help out other people, and this your series, that the Dream Desk series, especially, helping out the students, your barber. I don't remember her name, but see, it's all in the back of the
Shout out to
it's
Itzel.
all in
Itzel, yeah, she's amazing.
yeah. So it's all.
I haven't seen her all
Oh
year.
my.
Damn pandemic.
Yeah, damn pandemic. For instance, the surprise element in that video, for instance, I remember it to the core. I don't know her name, but I remember the story, right? You took her MacBook, the battery was swollen up, you interchange everything, and I was expecting that you would just give the MacBook, and then you give the MacBook Air, I guess, I don't know. So that itself, like those kind of things, that's not Dream Desk, I know that. But uh, that inspired me to push even more, man. The saying, the influence that you guys have, the Team Crispy, you, uh, everyone that I used to watch, is really big. And this podcast, especially, it's not, as I told, it's not about the numbers. It's about
Hmm.
talking to the people that, I dreamt of. I never thought that I would meet you. That's what I'm saying. So,
Look, the internet can be awful, but it's also amazing. And the fact that we're talking across the world right now, that you have an exam tomorrow, that I'm working on a video today, it's like crazy. And I just want to always try and remember that, because sometimes the internet is frustrating, and
mean people online.
there's some mean people online, but at the end of the day, it's a beautiful thing. It can be a beautiful thing, and like the fact that we are talking right now is proof of that.
Yeah, it's a proof of that. Me sitting in my bedroom and talking to a person, talking to a guy. I mean, I'm gonna exaggerate some words, but talking to a guy who impacted life in such a big way is like insane. It's insane.
Well, that means a lot, man. And for me, when people make stuff, and if I can help, motivate someone or influence someone to make something, that's the win. That's cooler than any view or milestone or anything. Like I want people to find that love for making stuff, and it seems like you're right on that path.
Thank you. I'm gonna put that up on my wall there. Anyways, next question.
Yo, speaking of your book real
Uh-huh.
quick, do you listen to Lil Dicky?
Yes, sir.
Okay, that's the line that's been there's a line that's just like your book, right? It's like you can create a path while these mother effers drive sideways. Or I'm gonna do that again. You can create, what is it like? You can create a path while these mother effers drive
You
straight.
can curse, by the
So
way. Please go on. I would love to see that.
I don't know if I'll say shit. I won't say the F word, but you can create a path while these mother effers drive straight, which to me, that was the sentiment of your book, of taking the alternate path and doing it your way. And more power to you on that. And I'm proud of you for that.
Thank you, man. Thank you. So I've repeated this a lot on the podcast now and right before this call too. So one of the goals with the podcast is to help out young or newbie creators, help create stuff and figure out their creative stuff. So what advice would you give to the new creators starting their journey in 2020?
Just work, man. Work and love it, because gear is helpful, but if you don't have the love and you don't have the work ethic, none of it matters. Because a lot of people like to look at people in the space and think that it came easy, and they don't see the hours and hours and hours and hours that went into the craft. And that's the thing, right? Is it's not just putting the hours in, like you got to love it and make sure you enjoy it, because that's when the magic happens. When you work hard and you enjoy it, nothing else matters.
Yeah, that's gonna keep me awake at night today. Probably.
No, but it is what
Yeah.
it is, right? Like I just talked about this yesterday. When you're creatively motivated, it doesn't matter how tired you are at night. Like in these moments when I'm like wired creatively, I'm usually going to bed late, but then I'm waking up ahead of my alarm because my brain is wired. And you got to feel that. I know you do.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that happened a lot with me. And Yeah, man, that's gonna help out the people, man. That's gonna help out because uh, I have to publish this very clip that we're talking about on Instagram too, because that's where people are really interested in seeing the this very question. I asked this question to everyone, by the way, like stated.
Yeah, and if I would give one more, just to add one more piece
Yes,
of
sir.
like advice, I would say surround yourself with good people and always remember that it's okay to be proud, it's okay to have confidence, but there's always someone better than you. And I don't mean that disrespectfully. There's always someone that's working harder than you. And my main sentiment with that is like there's always room for an improvement. And if you can hang out with people who have the same mindset, because I've learned the most from people who are better. Like that's just how it is, right? That's how you get better and push yourself. So that's just my last piece is hang out and surround yourself with good people.
Yeah, yeah, that's really helpful. Thank you. So, uh, this question I searched up everywhere regarding this, and I don't know what's your take on this one. So, Hackintoshes, are you interested in building one?
I've messed with the idea before. I think in theory it's cool. I understand it, but for me, again, I've always been from that mindset of I just want it to work, and like I've messed with Hackintoshes, and it's one of those things where it's like, oh crap, if I update software or then my audio driver's not going to work. So for me, I've never been. Obviously, it's exciting to think about the power or how fast something is, but if it ends up getting in my way, I tend to shy away. So in theory, Hackintosh is great, right? Because it's like the power, the customization that you get on the Windows side, but with Mac OS, I just I've never liked the experience of having to worry about okay if I update this software or what's going to not work. And typically, with there's pros and cons to both sides, right? With a PC, you get to build it, you get to upgrade parts as you go. Maybe you just want to upgrade the CPU, maybe you just want to upgrade the video card. Whereas on the Mac side, maybe you can't. But alternatively, the resale value is going to be really good. So you can sell this machine, get back a good chunk of what you paid for it, move on to the next, and keep going, right? It's just
Yeah,
preference.
yeah. So yeah, that really explains a lot. So let's go to the next question. I'm kind of scared about asking this one. I don't know if I'm right or wrong on this one, but I remember this very well here. So, how was your experience at the Tesla factory? You were there recording the stuff, right?
It was great. It was great.
So, yeah,
I
go on. Sorry.
I was shocked. I think I've disagreed with Elon on some of his actions, I guess, in 2020 with the pandemic.
Yeah.
I think he's a super smart, you know, dude, and I respect the hell out of Tesla and what they're doing. And I think the car is great. Honestly, like I was surprised. Elon was great in person. It wasn't like there was a camera on or off. It was just him. And I think he he gets that level of excitement where like it's like that kid in a candy shop. And that's what it was for me. It was this guy who was so proud of his product, wanting to show everybody everything. And it doesn't matter if it was Marquez or someone that he just literally met for the first time. Like he was great, and it was a great experience. And I think he just gets caught into the noise a little bit. But the Tesla experience was awesome.
Yeah. So one of the question I get asked on this one is he really human?
He's definitely like a different level of smart.
Uh-huh.
That's all. I can't even fathom what it's like to be in that brain.
Oh my. Okay. Yeah. Thank you. So I guess I'll get on the thing that I was waiting on. So I've been a fan of Team Crispy, and their impact on the tech community has been amazing. And my goal, as I said, is to work so that I can, create the same amount of impact in the coming years. So one of the first videos I watched on YouTube was uh, on not on YouTube. Let's talk about the tech scene is how to build computers, PCs specifically.
Right.
So I was just fascinated by the idea of, as kids are fascinated. I was just fascinated by the idea of building a computer as kids are fascinated
Right.
using Legos, because me and my friends,
Right. Yeah, I get
me
it.
and my friends back then used to collect money, and we used to buy those one parts and then just make it all along. And
Right.
from there, I started thinking about my dream desk after seeing your videos, obviously. So, which is still in process, by the way. It's not that amazing here, so don't touch on
I
that.
cannot wait to see it though.
No, no, you don't want to see it.
I do.
Okay, I think I'll send in a photo. This will be funny.
We'll set a tour up after.
Yeah, I'll do that right after this. So, uh, coming in back in, so sorry, coming back on the thing. So, one of the most prominent PC builders at the time was Linus Tech Tips. Uh, you don't give me
Yep.
that look. Just saying.
Yeah, I love Linus. I do. I do. I love Linus. I think
Yeah.
he's awesome.
So Linus Tech Tips and Austin Evans, and it
Right.
was Austin's first video, like how to make a gaming computer, and he used to make those videos,
Right.
boron, photon, something along that line. So I
Right.
used to watch these budget builds, and just like any seventh grader back then, I didn't had much in my pocket. So I've thanked you enough, I guess. No, I cannot thank you enough. You've came onto the podcast, you've made a dream come true. But I have one more teeny tiny favor from you, request, which is whenever you get a chance to meet Austin, please convey a huge thanks from me and my friends, because he changed our lives forever. Like, I was 18, like in 2015, and we learned how to make computers. And it was like, we built a freaking business out of selling custom budget computers. And
Oh wow,
we
that's awesome.
delivered so many smiles. It's
Evans,
no.
What's up?
I got someone who wants to thank you personally. I'm chatting with my friend right now. We're on a podcast, and he was bringing up the olden days of your old PC builds, like under $400, under $500, and
Hey guys, this is Austin.
What's up, man? How's it going?
He turned off.
here he is.
Sorry.
There he is.
So, hey. Oh my god, this is real, okay?
How's it going?
Just give me a second, man.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, Austin, thank you for changing our lives. Basically, I just told Johnathan, sorry, I just do that. Like, we were 13, 14 years old, and we didn't have a lot of money, and we used to watch your videos, learn how to make computers, and like, we didn't have a lot of budget, and we learned about the new budget parts and everything. And in 2015, we started our business to make custom budget computers for people in India. And thanks to you, we have delivered so many smiles in India. And by the way, my friend Ataullah says that he couldn't build a computer if it's not because of you. So thank you for making that 2013 how to make a gaming computer video.
Hey, man. That's
Yeah,
nice.
man.
That is incredible. I'm so happy you guys have been able to have so much success and build everything up. I mean, those early days of building the PCs were so, like, I mean, I'll be real, like, I didn't know what I was doing in those early days, right? Like, some of the first PC builds I did were trash. So I'm happy that you were able to learn from that and actually, like, build something of your own. That's incredible.
Evans, thank you. Go do your thing. Go play some Xboxes. Go build some PCs. Go drink your
Yes,
matcha.
sir.
And I'll see you later.
All right, cool.
Bye. Thank you.
Sorry, man.
You're good, bro.
I'm kind of all the place now.
No, it's so cool. It's cool.
I'm putting this in the podcast, and I'm so happy to put this in the podcast.
Sure, let's go.
So yeah, man. That was all the questions for the podcast, man. So I don't. Yeah, man. Just wrapping this up. I'm very grateful for having you on the show. I think this is still a dream, and I'm really, really hot right now. But yeah, man. I think if it's a dream, it's an amazing dream. And thanks for coming in, and thanks for changing our lives.
Well, dude, thank you. Thank you for the support. Thank you for sharing your insight. Thanks for inspiring. Like, you're going to motivate me to make cool stuff today. And I hope you know that. I hope you can go to bed tonight, pumped, get some rest because you got your exam tomorrow. So get your sleep, but know that you're going to motivate me to make cool. You're going to motivate me to make cool shit today. I'm just going to say that.
Exactly. Let's go with that cool shit, Yeah.
Let's go.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
Anyways, with that said, let's take the end of the show now, and I will see you soon, and I will see the lovely people of the podcast soon too. So
Sick.
take care and bye.
Later. Let's go.
You used to call me on my cell phone. Okay, you got it. Late night when you need my love. Call me on my cell phone.
I know these lyrics.
Late night when you need my love. And I know when that hotline rings.